Hey guys, welcome to your first edition of the Sunday Sum Up. I can't even begin to tell you how excited I am to be working with you this year. In my short time already at Truesdale, you guys have shown me so much and asked me so many great questions. I know we're going to have a great year ahead of us. So in this edition of the Sum Up, I'm going to be summing up relationship building as well as the procedures in your class and why they're important, and maybe some procedures that get overlooked a little bit that could go a long way to helping us. So let's start with relationship building. During second step, you're going to get a lot of student-to-student relationship building guide. So let's talk about teacher-to-student relationships. Those are the most important as far as I'm concerned, because we have kids that have no desire to come to our class most of the time because it's math. So what I mean is, most kids aren't jumping out of bed and running to school and being like, oh my gosh, I cannot wait for third period when I get to learn about Pythagorean theorem. Like, it just doesn't happen that way. But we can build relationships and have kids be excited to come to our room based on who we are and based on what we've shown them as far as we're human beings, we're not robots, okay? So let's just real quickly go through the ABCs, as I like to call it, of relationship building. So A is an easy one. A is going to be ask questions. So this takes little to no time or effort to ask a student, hey, how's your day? Or hey, what'd you do over the weekend? Taking notice of what team they're rooting for, what shirt they have on, what band they listen to, or what TV show or movie they're talking about, and ask them about it. Takes little to no effort, but it's going to go a long way in building that trust with them and building that relationship with them and giving them a reason to enjoy your class. Okay? So A, ask questions. B is going to be visible and be engaged. So what I mean by that is, during passing period is like a gold mine for relationship building. Be visible, be out in the hallway, and then be engaged and be engaging with your students. That's a great time to ask those questions. I know during our 50 minutes that we have them, or 45 minutes, whatever it is, we have a lot of content to cover. So during passing period, go all out, be visible, be engaged, asking those questions, getting to know as many students as possible. And then lastly, C stands for campaign. So I don't care if it's the student at Truesdale with the most angst, acts like they don't want to be there, all the way to the kid who's involved in every committee and sports team. Every student at Truesdale, all 1,400 or whatever that we have, seeks to be known and know that someone cares about them and wants to be understood. And if we can cheer for them and campaign for them, that's half the battle. Give them a reason to be at school, because it might just be you. Maybe they have no other reason to come to school but you. And if you're campaigning for them and you're always in their corner and saying, hey, you can do this, you can learn this is no problem, that relationship that you're going to build with them is going to go a long way. Okay? I'm thinking off the top of my head, I had a kid last year who got in trouble almost every day with teachers, and over the course of the year, my goal when I woke up was like, I got to be 100% on my A game for this student, and I need to be there for him. He needs me. So I knew when I went to school, that first hour when I saw him, he was going to start his day with me, and how it went kind of dictated how the rest of his day was going to go. And it was up to me to campaign for him and cheer for him and build him up that first hour so that he had a great day. Okay, so the ABCs: ask questions, be visible, and be engaged, and then C, campaign for our kids. So your goal for the first week we can have a school is simple. Have 3 conversations with students that have nothing to do with your content area. Get to know 3 students through conversation that have nothing to do with your content area. Okay, so that's your goal for the week and a half that we have until I'll give you our next video. Okay, so that's relationship building. Second, let's talk about procedures. So your classroom management is based on both the relationships you build and the culture in your classroom, and the structure and procedures you have. So we've already champed out and we've talked about champs in your classroom, some of the big procedures. Let's talk about the little ones that sometimes get overlooked. So the first little procedure that gets a lot of bang for your buck is, what is your expectation or your procedure when kids enter your room? So for me, my kids, it was very clear and laid out that they get in my room, they sit down, they fill out their agenda, and they move on to bell work, which is already posted. So just be thinking, what's your entering the room structure and procedure, and how will you communicate that with your kids? Because that sets the tone for the rest of your class. Secondly, what's your structure when they forget something, because it's gonna happen. So for me, I had a extra table at the back where I put extra pencils, paper, extra assignment copies that I had made if we had an assignment. I went to Walmart and bought little pencil sharpeners. All of that went on my extra table, and so when kids came in, if they didn't have a pencil for the day, They didn't have to sit at their desk and just wait. They didn't have to ask another student. They just went right to the back, got what they needed, and sat back down. So be thinking, what's going to be your procedure when they forget something, because that's a big one. That's one that can waste some time in class if kids are forgetting things. So have something readily available for them to go back, grab, sit down, and they're good to go. Okay, and then the third and final one that we'll talk about is transitions. So sometimes we have a lot of transitions. So we're going like from bell work to your book, and then from book to where we're going to work, or so on. Those transitions can waste time, okay? Or if we're going into student conversations. So I'm big on timers. I would always put a timer up on the board, or I would just count down and I'd say, okay, when I get back from 5 to 0, you better be transitioned from your bell work to our book and we're getting started. Or if I was doing student conversations, everything again is timed. Here's 30 seconds, partner number 1, here is specifically what I need you to talk about, and then we're going to transition to partner number 2 where you're specifically going to talk about this for 30 seconds. So think about your transitions and how you can manage them well, and how are you going to communicate that with your students. So again, we had number 1 was, what's your structure when they enter your room? Number 2, what's the procedure if they forget things to be quick and time effective? And number 3, how are you going to manage your transitions and make the most out of the short time that we have with them? So as we leave, just remember your goal, 3 conversations with students, and then thinking about our structures for our class. Again, I'm so excited. I know it's going to be such a great year. You guys are awesome. Thank you for listening to the Sunday Sum Up.